Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay. Today played on MP Blue Ridge River. Pretty cool map with lots of space to hide skirmishes and the like. I am playing the High Elves up against the Skaven of Clan Pestilens, to be led by Lord Skrolk, a very competitive Lord choice against perhaps not a so much competitive Lord's choice in Alethanar, but I think he has some good applications in this matchup. We'll press forward to my opponent and have a look what he has decided to take. Obligatory front line of Skaven slave spears. Bit of a road, bit of a speed bump, nothing more, but they do their job. They hold. They have a reasonable HP pool, good unit models, good for just blocking down advances and so forth. Second line of clan rats with shields. He's also taken some death globe bombardiers, so obviously they are the anti-infantry globe projectile infantry. Some rat ogres on the flanks here. A hell pit, great unit, one of the harder monsters to kill in the game, certainly. He's also got some plague sensor bearers and some regular plague monks back here in the trees, so pretty cool selections. Plague sensor bearers are an interesting unit, obviously with their ability to or their armor piercing and their magical damage and their ability to affect leadership is pretty cool, but they're high damage dealers, but they can be quite easily taken out by skirmishers, so it'll be interesting to see how they perform. And then he's got a little bit of a gun line here, 2 plague claw catapults and a set of warp lightning cannons. As said before, he has gone with Skrolk for his lord choice, and he has taken the pestilent breath, the vermintide, wither, the pestilent birth and pestilent breath and wither to get armor down. He's also taken the has he taken the, I don't know if he's taken his items. No, he's got the aura of pestilence. Interesting. So no items on him. That's that you don't see that very often. Obviously his abilities to cause damage to single entities and in an area of effect around him are quite strong. So usually you see them taken. Over for my forces, I have 3 Illyrian Reaver archers forward deployed out here, one regular Illyrian Reaver archer in the trees over here, as well as 2 more on this side. Obviously a great map for making use of Vanguard deployment and hidden deployment. I also have, along with Alethanar up here, 2 units of Shadow Warriors. Shadow Warriors in this matchup, I think, have their place. They're obviously pretty decent melee combatants once they run out of ammo, but their stalk and their forward deploys are good for getting around into the back line and taking out war machine crews, taking out Jezzails if they've taken them, that kind of thing. So on Alethanar here, I've taken the Moonbow. Good for taking out artillery pieces, good for sniping lords. I've taken the Mislead ability to give him his doubles, and obviously the Darken the Skies just to improve the reload ability of the Shadow Warriors here. My front line consists of 4 units of Rangers. These guys are an absolute MVPs in this matchup. In actually a lot of matchups, I think the inclusion of this unit has taken the High Elves from being a good faction to a very, very strong faction. They're really versatile units, for their cost. Obviously with 90 unit models, 20% physical resistance. The loose formation obviously protects them from things like mortars and skirmishes on the approach. They have reasonable stats, nothing super to write home about, but they do have an anti-infantry bonus. So these guys are just absolute brawlers in the front line. They cut through things like clan rats and Skaven slaves with ease. And they actually, for their cost, trade upward against some, decent mid-tier infantry. So, as I said, these guys are a real game changer. Been a real game changer for the High Elves. 2 units of Spearmen and a unit of White Lions. I took these guys just in case I saw maybe something like the Council Guard or maybe some Storm Vermin even with shields, just to get through some armor, have some armor piercing capacity. I've also taken the Mage of Beasts. He has taken Flock of Doom, Amber Spear for taking out artillery pieces or sniping hell pits, and obviously the Manticore Summon, which is a very strong ability. So we'll pop it on a... Ooh, we give it a fast play there. And you saw in the beginning here, my my Reavers actually are making a beeline for these trees here and went side on with their formation to this Warp Lightning Cannon, which got a massive shot down the flank. So I lost 18 unit models and nearly half their health in one volley. So I'm actually surprised these guys haven't broken. Well, they might flee here if they cop any more fire here. But you see here a massive shot getting ripped here. So I'll play the long game with my cavalry up and around the flanks. These guys will be held here for a reasonable amount of time until I can get basically a clear shot at the artillery. I'm figured he does have something in the trees here, and I am right. I didn't actually expect plague monks. I probably expected something like clan rats with spears or something like that. So I am going up around to have a look. Obviously getting them in the trees to avoid shots from the plague claws and the warp lightning cannon, but also just to get some eyes on what's around here. So it can inform me on what to use here. Alethanar is unfortunately getting sniped. He has summoned his decoy, who hopefully will take some shots and waste some ammunition. And I think I'm just getting in range here for a moonbow shot that I try and line up on one of the artillery pieces. But this is a large-ish map, so there is a bit of ground to cover for my infantry. But at the moment, they're not taking too much fire. His plague claws are looking elsewhere. And thankfully the decoy is actually soaking up some shots here. So the Shadow Warriors are going to make it up around this flank. I sort of know if anything comes out here that I've at least got my Illyrian Reavers that I can respond with. And Rat Ogres don't have great armor. 30 armor on Rat Ogres means they are quite susceptible to small arms fire, and Shadow Warriors can be quite effective at taking them down from range. Again, I'm not too concerned about getting Plague Claw shots in here. Obviously, they will do some damage, but the loose formation does sort of protects against that a little bit. And if my front line stays intact, then I'm pretty happy. So, obviously, my Illyrian Reavers are coming up around the flank, around to the rear here, and I do see the Plague Censor Bearers being brought up here. Again, these guys will die very quickly to Illyrian Reaver fire. They have basically no armor, and they are in a tight formation, so even in the trees, the shots are quite effective. I don't rip too many shots in there, but I bring these guys back, just doing a sweep of the back line again. So the infantry lines are about to meet. I unfortunately did have my mage in another deployment group, which is unfortunate. The Rat Ogres get a nice charge here onto the Rangers, but I do have some spears in reserve here, and I see an opening here, and my Illyrian Reavers are going to make an absolute beeline for them. I have routed off this unit of Skaven slaves. They're not likely to come back anytime soon, and everything else has been brought forward to deal with my infantry, which matches up quite well against his. So the Shadow Warriors are pressing up, trying to get some shots in. The Illyrian Reavers are coming in to take on the Plague Claw Catapult. Alethanar's continuing to rip shots in. I believe he's turned his attention to Skrulk here, and I am actually just going to move straight into combat with these guys. I'm not too worried about these guys in combat, and obviously the crews of the Plague Claws are very susceptible. Illyrian Reavers have great stats in combat as well. They are a really good multi-purpose unit. I've got this unit of Illyrian Reavers back here. I decided I didn't really need to commit them just at the moment, so I'm holding them back just to protect if anything, or a summon or something from Skrulk starts to put pressure on my Shadow Warriors, because I want to try and keep them alive and use all their armor, ammunition. These spearmen are probably just overchasing a little bit on the Rat Ogres. I probably could have used the Reavers for that, but they're being brought back to the main fight now. And you see in here, obviously my Rangers are not going to do too well against Plague Monks. Plague Monks are going to be a bit of an issue, but 17 kills here. These guys are up to 49 kills. They will absolutely, they're fine going 2-on-1 against Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats here. And the back line is starting to get in a little bit of disarray for my opponent. I've got the Plague Claw crews routing off. These guys are wavering. He's had to summon a unit of Plague Monks back here. I should probably be pulling out these Illyrian Ribs here, but the infantry fight is going great for me. And I've left myself some little tactical reserves. This wasn't intended. That's been left there. I've forgotten about them, but handy little thing for later to have in the back pocket. The mage here is just sitting out, probably trying to just use the Manticore summons. I had one down before, which I believe has now dissipated, but Skrulk is, these rangers aren't going to do, they might do a little bit of damage to him, but they're going to flee with that Pestilent Breath. The Plague Monks here are starting to, are going to degrade and despawn pretty quickly, and his Plague Claw crews really don't have a lot going for them at this stage. He has broken off one unit of my Illyrian Reavers, but these Reavers are still healthy, and as you can see, these rangers have been fighting here for basically the whole battle. In an island under themselves. They've got 90 kills, which is obviously mainly chaff infantry, but they're going to do their job. And the fire of the Illyrian Reavers here can just chunk away at the Hell Pit Abomination. I don't really have any good answers to the Hell Pit Abomination in terms of my own infantry, but 50 armor isn't heaps, so the lack of armor piercing here isn't going to be a big factor. I've finally remembered about my Illyrian Reavers. They're going to go and shut down these Death Globe Bombardiers probably for the last time. And as you see here, now that my Shadow Warriors have started to run out of ammo, they're just running. I mean, there's no need for me to fight these guys. I think I used an Amber Spear on these guys in a second even, or I had something queued up there, but there's no need for me to fight these guys. They're about to all die. They probably have about 10 seconds left. Alethanar's used most of his ammo. Plague Center Bearers are fighting Spearmen. They'll win that, but these guys with their good melee defense will hold them back. The Hell Pit is getting low. I still have plenty of rangers here just to clean up any infantry. We have some Plague Claw Catapult crew coming back. They've made a comeback. The second Manticore summon over here was sent to get Lord Skrulk, but it's starting to turn pretty heavily in my favour. My infantry is relatively healthy, and we're getting some mass wavering across the board for the Skaven. As I said, the Illyrian Reavers have done more than enough damage here to get this guy sort of thinking about fleeing. And with that, the battle is won for the High Elves. So a pretty good game. Like I said at the start, Rangers have given the High Elves a really, really strong, cost-efficient way to clear chaff infantry, and that is something that the High Elves really struggled with prior to the Warden and the Paunch DLC. Spearmen aren't designed to really kill anything. They're not bad, I guess, against enemy fast cav and things like that, where their anti-large bonus and their lack of AP doesn't really matter. But White Lions, for their price point, they'll obviously beat Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves very, very easily. But 800 gold versus 600 gold. The 20% physical resistance is a real, I think, an underrated, obviously, makeup of these guys, and allows them to, as I said in the beginning of the game, it allows them to trade upwards with some infantry, I guess, more expensive infantry that they really have no business doing well against. Their anti-infantry bonus, their loose formation protects. Gives them another layer of protection against, enemy skirmish fire on the approach. They're just a really, really solid unit. They're basically good in every matchup, and they're cheap. 600 gold for a unit that will always basically perform above that price point. Alethanar in this matchup, like I said, Skrulk is tough to kill. So having that just tick of energy, HP from his shots. Having the Moonbow to be able to take down, a hit from the Moonbow basically destroys an artillery piece. Same with the Amber Spear from the Beast's Mage. Illyrian Reavers, the lack of armor piercing doesn't really help you. They're actually not too bad at taking on Hell Pit Abominations, and they double as really decent, shock cavalry on the charge once their ammunition's depleted. Likewise with the Shadow Warriors, once they're done firing into their value targets, they fight reasonably well in the front line. So it's good to try out some different things, and this is certainly a matchup where a couple of the lesser lights of the High Elf roster, Alethanar, Shadow Warriors, really shine through. For my opponent, obviously, It's cool to see something different with Plague Censor Bearers. They probably don't have a good. They probably didn't have a good target. That probably would have been better off being just a number of clan rats with spears in the back line to protect the artillery pieces. These guys, they have their applications, but they're very much a glass cannon, so they don't want to be taking fire from fast cavalry, shadow warriors, things like that, or anything with a decent charge bonus that can sort of pick and choose its engagements. So he probably needed a little bit of a wider backline there to protect against the Illyrian Reavers. But some interesting picks there, and a pretty decent match in the end. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.